Hey everybody, Dr. Ben Atkins here, and welcome to a very special presentation. I am excited about today, and the reason I'm excited about today is we're going to be talking about this thing called selling the news. Over the last 5-6 months, we have taken something that we've been doing really for the last 5-6 years, and we've really dialed it into something special. And the idea behind this is there's a lot of folks here that are very savvy with okay, this is a lot of different ways that you can make money online, but a lot of ways that people know how to make money online really require you to do a lot of face-to-face stuff. Or you have to be on the phone with people, or you have to just, it can be uncomfortable. It can be something where you're having to play into other people's schedules. And what I wanted to do today is really let you inside of something that we've been quite successful with called selling the news. And what this is it's really how to build an income, a 5 to 10K month to start, but it can get much bigger than this, building a faceless empire. And the idea is I want each and every one of you to be able to roll out of bed, go sit in your favorite chair in your home office, maybe go to a coffee shop. The idea behind this is to be able to make a great amount of income without really having to interact with people in a face-to-face manner, meaning you can get a lot going very, very quickly because you've established an asset. Now, just to give you a preview, the asset that we're going to be building has to do with other people sort of losing hold of their asset. And I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean industries. And we're going to just, like I said, a teaser here, radio, TV, newspapers kind of going the way that they've been going the last little bit, you guys. That's what sort of led us to this opportunity. And I want you guys to understand, if you pay attention today, you're going to be able to do some amazing things. As I said, today is special. It's special because what I'm about to show you is something that not a lot of people out there know how to do, but the people that are doing this, and let me tell you, the people that are doing this are doing very, very well. And after today, you're going to know something that, like I said, not a lot of people know about. And if you take advantage of what we're going to be talking about on the call today, you're going to be able to reap the benefits for years to come. And okay, so let's just get into it. Before we get to the end of the webinar today, you're going to see inside a business model that allows you to build a 5 to 10K per month income in under 4 hours a week. And that's the other thing I really like about this. And I just want to be really put an exclamation mark on that. This does not require a lot of your time. Put a number 4 in the box if you're excited about you can do this in under 4 hours a week from the comfort of home, from the comfort of a coffee shop. I want to make sure that you guys understand that this 4-hour thing is real, and it's something that gets me super excited. And with 4 hours a week, you can get a lot done. I'm going to walk you through how you can build a faceless business by selling local news. Now, when I say news, you may not understand what I'm talking about now, but I'm going to tell you about exactly what we're talking about and exactly how you can turn that into income by the end of this. The best part of this, really, you guys, is I'm going to show you, even if you're scared of it, even if you're a little scared, even if it makes you a little uncomfortable, even if you don't have a following yet, I'm going to show you how to leverage artificial intelligence to do half of the work for you. That cool? Give me a yes if you're okay with, we're going to learn how to do this. Even if you're a brand new person to artificial intelligence, to AI, even if AI scares you, I'm going to show you how to get artificial intelligence to do half of the work that we've got for you here. That's one reason why we can do this. Now, here's the thing that you may be thinking, well, if artificial intelligence is doing half the work, it means I've got to do the other half. Well, no, not really. The other half of this work really gets put together with a Facebook ad and a templated email. And so we're going to be, of course, we've got to do a little coordinating, and that's what we're going to be doing. But the vast majority of what you do in this business is coordination. And yes, you can hire somebody else to do the coordination on this too. And here's what's cool. And this isn't on the slide, so I want you guys to listen really close here. When I say you could hire someone else to do all the work on this so that you don't even have to put the 4 hours in, you may be thinking, well, Ben, couldn't they then steal this from me? Couldn't they do it on their own? The reason that they cannot do that is because there is an underlying asset that you will own that the people that are working for you will not have. And that asset that you will own that we're going to be putting together is what's going to keep this in your hands so that you can run this like a CEO. So we've got AI that's going to do half. We've got a Facebook ad and a templated email that's going to do the majority of the other half. And we're going to be the coordinators of this week in and week out. And that's what we're going to be making 5 to 10K per month on. Now, here's the thing. This business model, wide open. Wide open. I've been looking around and it's wide freaking open, you guys. And the reason is because most people on the planet don't understand what you're about to. But here's the thing. Even though most people don't understand it, it's something that literally every person needs. And this is what I mean. They need local news. They need local news, but specifically, and please stick with me on this, they need local news that's hyper segmented to their personal interest. Give me a big number one if you're intrigued and you're excited. You want to really you want me to define what I mean by that a little bit more. I'm not trying to be vague. We're going to get into it. I promise you. I'm not going to leave you in on this. You're going to understand exactly what we're doing here in just a couple minutes. If you're ready to dig in, put a big number one in the box right now so I know you're ready to get started. You're ready to dive into this and see what we're doing. Okay, good. I got a chat full of number ones. If you have put a number one in so far, awesome. I appreciate you. If you've not put your number one in, get it in there. I want to see you. I like seeing your name. I like saying your name. I like saying hello, Jason. I like saying hello, John. I like saying hello, Mitzi. I like saying hello, Ted. I like making sure that you guys know I see you. And you're good. Hey, Rob, what's up, man? Good to see you. So here's the deal. Here's what we're covering in the next 35 minutes or so. There's going to be 4 parts to this. Part 1 is why the slow death of radio, TV, and newspapers is opening up a huge gap for savvy entrepreneurs to build digital empires. The reason that this exists is because of what happened with radio, TV, and newspapers over the last 20 years or so. Part 2, the kind of newsworthy content that you can turn into 5 to 10K per month within the next 3 to 12 months, and how to scale it into an empire from there. Part 3, the 5-minute Facebook ad that kickstarts the process and gets you into income generation with this system in under 3 weeks. And I do mean that. Within 3 weeks, you could be generating income with this. From there, part 4, how you can build your own 5 to 10K per month business by selling the news starting this week. And let me tell you, 5 to 10K is just the beginning if you pay attention today. So let's dive in. Let's get started one more time. Give me a big old number one in the box if you're excited about us kicking this off today, having a little fun talking marketing on a beautiful day like today, and walking away with something that you can do hiding out. You don't have to show your face, and you can do this from a coffee shop. You can do this on vacation. You can do it wherever you want. And the best part, it's 4 hours a week. 4 hours a week to maintain this, and grand scheme of things, you don't even have to be the one that puts in the 4 hours a week. Okay, let's dive in. Let's get started. Part 1, why the slow death of local radio, TV, and newspapers is really opened up. And it's really still opening up. Even though we're seeing the decline of those, we're still just now getting to a place where this is opening up a huge gap for savvy entrepreneurs like us to build digital empires. Now, I'm going to be weird for a minute. Please bear with me. I'm going to be weird for just a second. I want you to do a little exercise with me. Type a number 1 if you can do this with me real quick, and just play along. I know it's weird, but I want you to close your eyes for a minute and do a little exercise with me. Type that number 1 before you close your eyes, so I know that you're doing it with me. And like I said, I know this is weird, but stick with me. And I just want you to sort of go down this path with me for a second. Okay, thanks for all the number 1s. All right, let's close our eyes. Let's talk about this. I want you to imagine that we're living back in the year 2000. The internet's here. It's in place. We all know what the internet is at this point, but we're largely without social media, and Google is literally just making its debut on the scene this year. Now, we all have the impression in the year 2000 that the internet's going to be big someday, but it ain't really big yet. It's cool. We love it. We think it's going to be awesome. Those of us that are innovators think it's going to be awesome, but we still don't quite know what it is. And here's the thing, it's still kind of a novelty at this point. So 2000, think about what you were doing in 2000. Think about what was going on. Think about where you were. Think about what we've got. And think about this thing called Google really has just started to enter our minds, okay? Yeah, this is back in those days. Now, what do we rely on to get our news or let us know what's going on this weekend? Let's say it's 2000, we're sitting on a Friday, and we're like, hey, what's going on this weekend? What can I do? What's going on? And I want to walk you through some core things here that are kind of what's our go-to for understanding what's going on over the weekend. we really have three core mediums, okay? Three core mediums that wherever you happen to live, this is how we figured out what we were going to do with our time over the weekend. Now, whether you had kids then, whether you didn't have kids, whether you were in college, whether you were in high school, doesn't matter. This is what we had. So back in 2000, we had radio, which gave us some pretty hyper local news, okay? If you lived in a small town, radio was exceptionally good for hyper local news. Now, here's the thing, small radio stations have continued to sort of be that. And even though they're dying out slowly here, they're coming to the end here, these small local radio stations. That's kind of what we've got. What we still have left over with radio is some of the bigger stations. So most of us, when we were coming up, you had a hyper local, like a very local small radio station, and then you had at least one radio station from a bigger city that you were close to that would give us some more general news for around the area. So if you were going to that city, it would tell you what was going on there. Now, newspapers, number two, kind of had largely the same role. You get a local news and events from a very local, hyper local paper that was in your town. And then we had some larger papers that were giving us national news. They were giving us, bigger city news from around us. That's kind of what we had there. And then we had television. Now, television stations back then were mostly in larger cities because it was a little more expensive to run a television station. And they were mostly in larger cities. But they give us both local and national news. You could still kind of get an idea. So the idea here is we would get our weather, our sports, our food recommendations, our event reminders, and just about everything else from these three mediums. All right. So open your eyes real quick, and I want you to give me a yes in the box if you remember this and it feels very close to home, because that's what it was like. That's how we ran our lives. It was radio, TV, newspaper, and that's it, which seems weird to us because that's really the opposite of what most of us do now. I still pull some things from these things, but give me a big yes in the box right now if that was something that you remember. And yeah, back in 2000, before things happened, yeah. So it was a simpler time. It was a simpler time. We lived in more of a monoculture. And I hate when people use that term, but we lived in a place where most of us were all listening to the same things. And whether you were into the things that those outlets, those three mediums were putting out there, that's what you got. So that's where we were, but everything is about to change in the year 2000. And I look at the year 2000 because it really was the beginning of something. Okay, it really was the beginning of something. Google launches in 98, but to the public, 2000, 2001 is when we really start getting what Google is and how Google is going to change the world. So Google launches and it makes it much easier to find all kinds of information because it acts like a kind of keyword-based directory that actually works. And so instead of us having to rely on the search engines that came before, because we had those, Google did some stuff that was different. And the biggest radio, TV, and newspaper outlets out there, they see this and they have the capital and the resources to move that way, right? Give me a yes if you remember that. Like some of the bigger ones, like the national TV, the national newspapers, they start to really get their crap together and get online. And that was awesome. That was awesome that we were happy to see that. But here's the thing that really happened that really shaped what our world looks like today. The smaller and more local radio, TV, and newspapers, they didn't. They lagged behind. It took them 5, 10, 15 years, some still aren't, to get themselves in a place where they were on the net in a way that actually made sense. Give me a yes if you agree with that. And you saw this in your local markets. You saw that the radio, the TV, they just weren't there. They didn't have a presence. And if they did have a presence, it was difficult. It wasn't put together very well. And so we start to see something interesting happen. And I want you to put a big, lucky number 7 if you agree with this. We started to see that we were getting more of a national and big city news from the net, but we were losing a lot of our local. We were losing a lot of our local in terms of being able to go find it in one place. You could go to the net now and kind of piece things together, but we were losing it. And so 5, 10 years down the road, we start to wake up and realize that these mediums, these radio, TV, and newspaper are not the best and easiest source to find out what's going on in our local areas anymore. This is because we have to wait to find out that info. You have to wait for the newspaper to come out. You have to wait for the TV broadcast, the radio broadcast of the time of day when they're going to say the stuff. And still, it's just tidbits because they can only focus on so much. We slowly start to realize that the info they have is now kind of crappy. So we start searching online for better info that's more precise and on demand. That takes us from a kind of monoculture where everybody is following the same news to a more spread out kind of culture where people can kind of hyper focus on the things that they're into. So social media and forums become our news outlets, but they quickly kind of become hard to follow too, because even with social media, you got to find it on the feed. You got to know what pages to go to, and it's really all over the place. Does this make sense? Give me a yes if this is what you have felt like and this is what you're seeing. This is what a lot of my friends and I have talked about, that it was interesting to see how we started to lose a really local watering hole type of place where you could find out what was happening. So the problem stands. You have to really dig to find good news and event sources for the topic that you're into. Finding things that are hyper local to you, it's still, to this day, it's hard and inconsistent. And the reason is because even if you know where you can go find things, you still have to piece together. You're like, okay, well, this restaurant does this venue does this, and the smaller the town, the harder it is to do with this. And does this mean anything to you guys? I want to take a pause. How many of you feel like it is still very, very hard to find out in certain little hyper niches how to find things to do on the weekends? And I don't mean like if you know of a place where you like to go, you'll go look at their calendar, you'll go look at their events, you'll listen to their social media and you can find it. But if you don't know, it's really hard to find new things to do because there's no real good way to do that. Yeah. So along the way, this weird little medium that people said would die over and over again went back to becoming kind of a go-to source for people that were looking for hyper-targeted news. I think everybody can guess what that medium is, and if not, that's okay. That medium is email. Now, you may not understand what I'm saying with this yet, but I'm about to make this point really big where you're going to get exactly what I'm saying. Email, whether you realize it or not, has become kind of the king of hyper-targeted news that we want to read, and it shapes our activities every week. Let me ask you a question. How many of you here email is a primary driver for where you show up at certain hours of the day? Give me a yes if that's you. Give me a no if it's not you. Give me a yes if it's you. Give me a no if email is not the primary. And listen, some of you are smart enough to understand that this is a trick question. Some of you are I don't mean smart enough. Some of you are smart enough in the moment to realize that I'm tricking you here, because here's the thing. If you're on this webinar right now, email was a driver for where you show up at certain hours. Would you agree? I was tricking you. That's not fair. That doesn't mean you're smart or not smart. But does everybody understand? You're here because you were on a hyper-targeted list about something you were interested in. And that is really the only other way you would have found it. I didn't post this on social media. I didn't this was entirely email. So that was sneaky. Give me a number 7 in the box if you're mad because I was sneaky there. And I wanted to prove a point. And the point is, for the things that we are interested in, for the things that everybody is interested in, one of the best ways, sorry, Steve. Steve's giving me shit. I appreciate you, buddy. But the idea here is, I want you guys to understand that email, for a lot of people, is how they get their hyper-targeted news these days. Now, while this webinar is a small example of that, I want to expose you to an email-based news and event system you've probably already taken advantage of as a consumer of information, but maybe you're missing out on it as a producer of information. How many of you want to see how we can really hyper-target some local things, even some non-local things, with email, but be a producer in a way that makes us cash? I'm going to tell you guys, it is incredibly important to realize that if you have an email list in a local area about what's happening in certain little hyper niche pockets, that you have something that is incredibly valuable and you can make a lot of money. Give me a number 1 if you're starting to see where I'm going with this and you're starting to understand. Can I take you behind the scenes and show you those kinds of emails that a small group of smart entrepreneurs are going to be making great income with every month? I want to give you some ideas. And like I said, if you don't know that these things exist right now, I'm about to show you something that's going to make you a lot of money. If you haven't put a number one in the box right now, make sure you get that number one in the box. I want to make sure I see your number one. I want to make sure that you're excited to learn kind of what these emails are. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about where there's some money. And when I say some, I mean a lot of having some hyper targeted content that is delivered via email. All right, part two, the kind of newsworthy content that you can turn into 5 to 10K per month in the next 3 to 12 months, and how you can scale it to an empire from there. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions. How many of you realize that if you want to find out where the big musicians are playing, you could go to Ticketmaster right now, search for your area, and you could find where the big people are playing? Give me a number one if this makes sense to you. Like if you wanted to see who was playing in a city next to you or in your city, you could literally go to Ticketmaster.com right now. You could pop in some stuff. You could go to like a Live Nation. You can go to a couple sites that have the big stuff. But here's the thing. I want you guys to understand that is for an artist of a certain level. What if I want to see all the rock artists that are less known and playing in my city this week? Does everybody understand that it's a lot harder to find that information? Give me a yes if so. It's a lot harder to find that information if they are below a certain thing. When I say below a certain thing, we're talking Ticketmaster, Live Nation, that's big. Somebody says Eventbrite has that. Go search Eventbrite, and I guarantee you, if you know of 3 artists that you like personally know, half of them won't be on Eventbrite because Eventbrite is not pulling in all of the information. Nobody is. And that's the thing. Up until now, we were dependent on humans to get this stuff together. We were dependent on to find this. And so here's the thing. If you know about a venue that you like to go to, well, maybe you know who's playing there. Maybe if you know a few venues, you can put that together. But that's the idea. Does everybody understand? Does everybody understand that it's a lot harder to find this if you wanted to know rock artist or country artist or bluegrass or jazz? It's a lot harder. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page there. Okay, so that's one example. We all understand it's harder to find that. So here's the thing. If you wanted, this is a different example. If you wanted to see the highest ranked restaurants for a certain food type, does everybody understand you can go to Yelp? Give me a yes. You can go to Yelp. You can go to like Google reviews. That's you can do that, right? Give me a yes if this makes sense. Like I can go to places, I can search for a certain type of food with a city name, and I can find the highest rated. But here's the thing. What you don't really get is this. What if I wanted to know this week, this particular week, what restaurants in my city are having special food events? Like they're doing specials, they're doing like pop-up type of stuff, pop-up menus. That's going to take me forever to track it all down. Would you all agree with that? If I wanted to know food-wise, I'm a foodie and I live in this town or I'm traveling to this town, it's extremely difficult for me to find those things. How many of you, and just be honest, and you put a number 2 in the box, how many of you with the last 2 examples, you would love to have an email that hits your inbox that told you what was happening in your city or a city close to you of a certain kind of music or a certain kind of food stuff that was happening? And that is the thing that really starts to hit you, that information is power. And the ability to compile information and deliver it is power. Would you agree? Give me a yes if you agree, and I'll keep moving. I won't belabor the point here. Okay, good. So, like I said, the quicker you guys throw those yeses and the number ones and the I understands in, the quicker I keep moving. Okay, perfect. Let's do this because I run into this problem quite a bit, you guys. This is the last example here, but I want you guys to understand. If I want to know what's going on for kids in my city this week, I could always check the Facebook page of certain venues, right? Like I could go to what's happening at this venue for kiddos this week, because maybe it's a kid-friendly venue. What's happening out there for kids right now? I can go to the places on Facebook or on Instagram that are posting these things, but I only am going to know what's going on at those places. It's a lot harder to find those things. But if we're the kind of people that love trying new things and exposing our kiddos to new experiences, we have to dig, like really seriously dig to find out what other spots are out there. And we're going to be consistently missing stuff. Have I made my point? Have I made my point to where there's a large gap in information and our ability to quickly access it. And that's what I want you guys to understand. When I see gaps like that, I know that I have found something that we can monetize, because would you all agree that there are a ton of people out there that are looking for easy ways to get that kind of information? Just with the 3 examples I gave you so far. There's plenty of other examples, but does this make sense as to why this is something that's demanded? So when I find something like this little gap that people are trying to fill, but they really haven't found a good way to fill it yet, that's what I'm looking for. So in short, there's a huge demand for weekly Reader's Digest versions of what's happening in multiple micro niches in every city out there. Every single city out there, from large to small, there is a huge demand for hyper targeted, hyper niche in every city. And here's the thing, we just need an efficient way to gather that micro local niche information faster. Because here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to spend my entire week being the person that compiles that information, because that could take half your week finding all these things. And that's just if you happen to know all the places that you should be looking. Give me a yes if this makes sense to you and you're following me. We need a more efficient way. We need a more efficient way to find that micro local niche information faster. And is there any guess how a small marketer might go, a smart marketer, but that's acting on their own, meaning a small business, might go about compiling any of the info I just talked about every week and turn it into a product that people would sign up for gladly to see for free? We're going to offer it for free, but how many of you have an idea? If you guess by leveraging AI to go find this information for you, you're on the right track. One of the ways now, instead of going to Google, instead of going to social media, instead of going to all these places to find the things that I'm trying to find to get information about what's going on in my town or a town I'm traveling to, is I will go to AI and I will use a specific set of prompts to get AI to tell me what's happening that particular week and to give me the broken down, finely tuned version of this micro niche local content. Now, let me ask you a question. Somebody says RSS feeds. Well, that's all well and good, but you got to find the RSS feeds the first time. I want an army of little bots going out there and finding it for me. Does that make sense to everybody? So I don't have to do the legwork. Because here's the thing I know about myself. Give me, if you walked away for a second, come back here. Here's the thing I know about myself. How many of you always feel the best every single week of the year? Not me. Sometimes I'm sick. Sometimes I feel like I just don't want to work. Sometimes I'm doing other things. Sometimes I'm visiting people out of town. Sometimes it's hard for me. Sometimes it's hard for me to put these things together if I'm doing it manually. And that's why leveraging AI is a big thing. But let's get into money. You guys want to talk money here? You guys want to talk money, like how we actually make money off this? Let me ask you a question. Do you think people would line up to be on a free email list that provided this information every week? What do you think? Yes or no? Do you think that if you talk about certain topics, hyper niche topics, that people would line up if they knew it existed? They would line up, sign up for it, and they would get the free email every single week. What do you think? You think that this is something that on a local level, people are hyper interested in? Like, listen, you guys, this is something that I am always looking for. If somebody else will do the work, I'm in, especially if I can sign up for free. And here's the thing. I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Who do you think would fall all over themselves to pay to insert themselves into those micro local niche emails once you started getting that email list growing? Who do you think would fall all over themselves to put money into it? They would much rather put money into a hyper targeted list that has all of their people, rather than spend money on weekly social media that maybe no one will see. They would rather spend money on this than putting up ads that maybe will hit their audience, that maybe will not, that they'll have somebody that has to manage it at all times. Who do you think would be ideal to pay us if we have a list of people that are hyper targeted and into a certain topic on a local level. If you guess small and large business owners, and I don't just mean small business owners, meaning they own one business, I'm talking about large business owners too. Does everybody understand that if you can show that you have a list of people that are interested not only in a local topic, but in a niche topic and local, that people will fall all over themselves to be a part of that and to get their message into that email as well every time you send it out? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Now, would you like for me to walk you through how we get those businesses to sponsor our Sell the News micro local niche email letters and exactly how much we charge them for email? That's something that you'd like to know? Yes? Give me a yes if you'd like to know more about how we get them, how we do it, and more importantly, how we do it without ever having to have somebody talk to them. Meaning how we get this done in a faceless way, how we get this done without having to pick the phone up. If you like those things, give me a big yes or a number 1 in the box, and that lets me know. Okay, good. So I have a chat full of people that want to know that, and we will cover more on that soon. So hang on to that. We'll cover more on that soon. But first, I think the thing that maybe you need to know, and maybe I'm just guessing here, is I think a lot of people understand that if you had the list, people would line up for it. They would pay for it. I'll show you how to get it in front of them that you've got it. I'll show you how to get them to pay for it. But let's get to brass tacks, because you guys know I don't like screwing around. How about I show you how to build the list in the first place? Would you like to know how to build the list in the first place, the valuable asset, the thing that actually puts you in control, before we talk about going out and getting people that want to be a part of it to pay you to be a part of it? So what I'm going to do is, how about we go through, and right now we spend some time that we have together actually talking about how we build the list, how we put it together, how we put these micro local niche email lists to get them to 5 to 10,000 subscribers, and how we get it there quickly so that we have a product to sell. We have an asset to sell to our local sponsors. And I think it's much easier for everybody to wrap their heads around getting the sponsors, getting people to pay, doing it in a faceless way, if they understand how we're building the list. So let's talk about it. Part 3, the 5-minute Facebook ad that kickstarts the process, gets you into income generation with this system in under 3 weeks. Would you guys like to see exactly what we're doing that gets a list into a position? It's a list into a position, one of these hyper local, hyper targeted lists. Would you like to see exactly how we build this list in under 3 weeks to something that people would want to pay us for? Okay, we'll show you. I'll wait for number 3. Put a number 3 in the box if this is something you want to see. I'm going to take a drink while I'm waiting on that. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to see. The secret to growing this fast, because how many of you have tried list building before? How many of you have tried list building before? Just be honest with me. If you've tried to build a list, maybe you've tried to even build a local list before, maybe you've run into problems. Maybe you've run into problems. And if you've run into problems, I have an idea why you've run into problems. If you've never done this before, I'm glad you're here, because I'm going to save you from running into these same problems that the people that have tried. I have about 10 people that have tried this and they ran into some problems. I'm going to save everybody the trouble. The secret to growing one of these lists fast, and I'm going to change a few people's lives here, and I know that's a big thing, but I'm going to change some people's lives. I thought that there were some more efficient ways that we could do this, because we started doing this in a traditional way. We were building a list, but it wasn't as fast as I wanted. And so lucky for me, I'm able to pick up the phone and call some of my favorite people that do Facebook ads, that do a lot of different things. And I said, hey, this is what we're doing. How do we become more efficient at this? And this is what they told me. The secret to growing this fast is skipping 90% of the usual things that cause conversions to fall when you're building an email list. Okay, well, that's a nice statement. Would you like to see exactly how to do that? Like, I'm literally going to show you on the screen right now exactly what we're doing and the templates that you need to be using to build these lists fast. Give me a big number 3 if you want to see it. Give me a big number 3 if you want to see the actual ad template that we're using to put this together and to build these lists. Here's what I want you guys to understand. If you want to build a list fast, right now, I want you to do me a favor. I want each and every one of you that just typed the number 3 in the box, and make sure you get that number 3 in the box if you haven't already. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to skip the opt-in page. I want you to skip the opt-in page. How many of you are surprised by me saying that? I get it. I'm talking about for this specific thing that we're doing, this very, very specific, hyper-targeted, local, but very micro niche to build a list of 5,000, 10,000 people. I would like for you in this specific instance, listen, you guys, opt-in pages are great. They work in certain scenarios, but in this particular scenario, I want you guys to skip the opt-in page, and I want you to focus on a lead ad. Okay, now it looks kind of like this. Give me a number, give me a big number 7, lucky number 7 in the box if you can see this on the screen. I just want to make sure that I didn't screw up getting this on the screen for you so you can see it. I'll explain it in a second, but like make sure you've got it on there. So what this would be is it's an ad, and you would run it from like a specific sort of brand that sort of fits your niche. Like this one's Nashville Foodie. And what the ad says is something like this: ready to be on the inside of the Nashville food world. Get the weekly newsletter with the latest news on what's happening in the Nashville foodie scene. And then just below that, become a Nashville foodie insider now. And so you can see I've got a picture of the city. I got a picture of sort of the centerpiece, which is food. And that's what we've got. People click the sign up button right in the ad. They go to a form right in Facebook, and then we have the lead right away without having to ever leave them off the site. Does this make sense? Give me a yes if this makes sense and you understand what we're doing. And like I said, this is the kind of thing most people would not actually show you on a webinar like this, but I wanted to. I wanted to make sure you guys got it. The idea here is if you take away a ton of the friction of clicking out, going to another site, wondering if who this is, and whatever. If you make it so that they never have to leave the social network, meaning they're thinking, well, this ad got approved, so it must be okay. You're good. Does this make sense? Does this make sense so far? And you understand basically what I've covered? I've covered why this opportunity exists. I've covered the type of content that we're going to be putting out there. I've covered how to build the list using that particular ad that we just showed you. Does this make sense? Now, I showed you a food ad, but does it have to be food? Could it be kid entertainment? Could it be music in a certain niche of music? Does all that make sense that we're just putting these things together and we're making it easy for people to sign up? When you see that ad that I just showed you, that lead ad, does everybody understand how we're getting to 1,000? We're getting to 5,000. We're getting to 10,000 people fast. Does this make sense? Yes, Christine says, do you have separate lists for each topic? 100% I do. 100% I do. Does this make sense? Is it necessary to niche down? 100% it's necessary to niche down. Let me ask you a question. Would you guys be more likely to sign up for a list that was all things for Nashville, Tennessee, if you lived in Nashville, Tennessee, or would you be more likely to sign up for the one that's talking about foodies in Nashville, if you were into food? The more you niche this down, the easier it is for the list to explode. Give me a number 7 in the box if this is a light bulb and you understand that that's the secret. Anybody that's had trouble building a local email list, anybody that's had trouble building an email list, it's because you didn't niche down or you put too much friction in the way of signing up. Okay, so you ready to learn how to do everything that we just talked about? Make your first $1,000 in the next 30 to 60 days. Give me a yes if you would like to know how to make $1,000 doing what I just showed you under 4 hours a week, but how to do that in the next 30 to 60 days. I'm going to wait for you to type in the chat. If you're ready to learn how to do this, and I'm going to wait for my chat to fill up. Do not be a stranger. If you would like to know how to make your first $1,000 doing this in the next 30 to 60 days, give me a yes in the box. Now, on top of that, making your first $1,000 in the next 30 to 60 days. On top of that, if after you make that first $1,000, you're ready to build your own 5 to 10K per month selling the news business in the next 3 to 6 months, give me another yes in the box. I want to see a yes if you're ready to learn how to take, hey, I made my first 1,000, that's awesome, but how do I turn this into a monthly thing? where I know the money's coming in every month and I know exactly what we're doing. Okay, perfect, perfect. Would you like to see how to build this without having to personally speak to anyone? Give me a big yes in the box if you'd like to do this without having to go talk to people, without having to, get on the phone, walk into a business. I know there's those of you that are fine doing that, but would you like to know how to do it without doing that? Okay. Would you like to steal? Would you like to steal all my shortcuts for building and running this in less than 4 hours a week? Give me a yes if you'd like to steal some shortcuts and not have to do this from scratch like I had to. I had to do an incredible amount of research to figure out how to do this effectively. Would you just like to steal that and just go? Cool. One more thing. Would you like to steal all of my city niche templates, meaning all the little micro niche topics that you could run in any different city? Would you like to know all the little niche templates that you could go in and use for each of these cities and have those ready so you don't have to guess? You don't have to come up with your own, well, we're going to do food in this one. We're going to do the, rock music. Would you like to steal all of those little niche things that we've proven work in a city? Would you also like to steal? Yeah, the templates include the ads. Absolutely. Would you also like to steal the prompts that I use to get AI to write these emails, the entire emails every single week, and how to make it 10 times easier than if you started from scratch? If you'd like to steal the niche templates, if you'd like to steal the AI prompts that just write this stuff for you so that you're getting good data back and you got data that is going to actually help people, give me a yes in the box if so. Okay. One more on top of that. If you'd like to steal the exact ad templates in the Canva files that we're using to run these ads cheap in these local markets, give me a big yes in the box for that. Okay. I'm going to wait for your yeses. I'm going to take a drink. And if you answered yes to those things, let me talk about how we're going to do that, and we're going to do it together. Okay, so part 4, how you can build your own 5 to 10K per month business by selling the news, and you can do it starting this week. So my team and I have put together a special 2-hour workshop that's going to give you step-by-step the blueprint to building a 10K plus per month revenue stream by packaging local news into bite-sized micro niche newsletters that people will go nuts over. If I have your permission to tell you exactly what we're going to be covering inside of this workshop, please jump in the chat right now and type news. Please jump in the chat right now and type news. If I have your permission to show you exactly what we're going to be covering in this workshop when we get into it. Okay, let's get into it, you guys. Let me show you exactly what we're going to be doing in this 2-hour workshop and how I'm going to get you there fast, how I'm going to help you skip the 5 years that it took us to get started, how I'm going to help you skip the last 5 months when we really dialed it in. Let's talk about it. So part 1, the selling the news system from 10,000 feet. You're going to get a bird's eye view of exactly how the entire system fits together, how we build, how we grow, how we scale, and how we profit from your local niche by putting together a selling the news business. So the first part is I'm going to show you how all of these pieces look from 10,000 feet up and how they all fit together. From there, we're going to dive into each of these pieces individually so that you understand how this works. Part 2, how to lock in your local niche idea and audience. You're going to learn exactly how to dial in an audience that can make you 5 to 10K per month, meaning they're going to not only sign up for your list, the vast majority of them are actually going to open up the email every week, starting the week they sign up, but also 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road. They are going to love this thing. How do we find the audiences that are going to be hyper targeted and be into this? Because what's a list if they don't open it, right? How many of you, put a number 2 in the box if you understand, we're finding lists of people. We're going to be putting together this local niche idea so that people actually open the darn thing and they keep opening it, which means your asset is valuable. So we've got that. Okay. Part 3, you're going to get my sell the news, opt-in funnel, and traffic strategies. You're going to see a full-on version of the Facebook lead ad templates. And I'm also going to include an opt-in page for you. I know I said that's not the primary, but there's instances where you need to have the opt-in page. Anybody have a guess why we would have an opt-in page, even though that's not our primary driver? Anybody guess why I'm going to give you an opt-in page and what we use the opt-in page for, even though it's not a primary driver for us to sign up people. Why? Why? Here's why. Here's why. You ready? When somebody shares, they love the list. They love the list and they want to share the list with their friends who would also love the list. We can't really send them back to a Facebook lead ad effectively. So we're going to have an opt-in page where they can share it with their friends. Does everybody understand that? So not only are you getting the Facebook lead ad and all that, but you're also going to get an opt-in page, the exact opt-in page we use, because there is a utility to it to help this thing turn viral, meaning your subscribers will turn around and share it with other people. So I'm going to give you both those things. I'm going to show you how to build your list from 5 to 20,000 subscribers for cheap. From there, part 4, how to create your weekly news editions easily with the help of AI. I'm going to give you guys the exact prompts, the secret sauce of how we put this stuff together in minutes rather than taking hours or days to put the information together for your stuff. Now, what this means, and please everybody understand because it doesn't say this on the slide, give me a number 4 if you've come back and you're paying attention to what I'm saying right now, because this is incredibly important. Please, please, please jump into the chat right now, because this is where the rubber meets the road, and this is going to be where the light bulb comes on for most people here if it's not come on already. The reason that AI is so important for us as we're doing this, it's not just because we want to do all this in less than 4 hours a week, but here it is. You ready? This is the game changer that is going to change your life if you listen to me right now. Ready? Here it is. It's if you want to run multiple lists, you now can still do that completely on your own, because AI is doing all the heavy lifting for you week in and week out for multiple lists. So not only do you have one list that's going to be making you money, you can set up multiple lists. If you want to make more money, we just set up a new list, we start growing it, and now we can still pull in the amount of content. Does everybody understand how this does not scale without AI helping us? We cannot grow our business without AI helping us. I'm going to show you how to do this. Also, I'm going to show you all of this in a way where if you wanted to get someone else to do this part for you, you can. So you don't even have to do this part. Give me a big number 4 in the box if you think that this is important and this is a big, big deal to understand kind of the insider secrets of how we do this. So that's what we'll be covering in part 4. Okay. Now from there, part 5, how to get the local sell the news sponsors without ever having to speak to anybody. How many of you would like to go out there to rock the sponsors out, but you just don't want to talk to them? You don't want to have to call them up. You don't want to have to walk in their business. You don't really want to have too much interaction with them other than saying, here's a cool asset. Here's something that can make you money. Do you want to be a part of it? So in this section, you're going to learn exactly how we turn our subscribers into money by making it easy for businesses to sign up and to pay us monthly. This is done with a special email template and an order page that you are going to be getting inside if you get a seat inside of this. Now, every part of the workshop I just showed you is going to show you how to get up and running and make 5 to 10K a month with a faceless email newsletter that you can build, grow, and scale in just 4 hours a week. But that's not all. There's some of you that want to go faster. If you're one of those people that wants to go faster, I want you to put in the box faster. Type faster in the box if you want to go faster than everybody else. Put faster in the box right now if you want to go faster than anybody else. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to see 2 options. I'm going to put a page in front of you in a minute where you can go get your seat for this 2-hour workshop that we're going to be doing for selling the news. There's going to be 2 options on that page. Let's talk about what you get if you get the advanced package, you guys. So let's talk about the advanced package and how that's going to help you go faster. With the advanced package, you're getting everything in the main package plus this. First, you're getting the selling the news done for you, city themes, and chat GPT newsletter generation prompts, meaning I'm going to hand you exactly what niches you should go after in every city that you're going into so that you know you've got people passionate to sign up and you can build a big list that is in turn going to be valuable to sponsors. I'm also going to show you with those themes, I'm going to show you the exact prompts that you need to use to go in and generate those newsletters for that city, for that micro niche. And you guys are going to have this. You don't have to worry about coming up with a topic. You don't have to worry about how you get the information for that topic. We're going to give you those things. Now from there, that's advanced part number 1. You're going to, like I said, get everything in the main package. That's the first part. The next one is this. You're going to get the perfect selling the news weekly email template, meaning I'm going to show you how to format these emails that go out to your subscribers so that they love them. So that not only do they love them, but they're going to, you ready for this? They're going to share this list with their friends because it's so valuable to them that they want to share it to other people. So I'm going to give you the template. I'm going to show you exactly how you construct this with the help of AI so that this template is going to help you to grow it even without somebody clicking on the ad and signing up that way. Give me a yes in the box if you think that this is valuable. You're going to get the exact template, exactly how we format it. I have a lot of people that worry about formatting something because they want to know what does a successful would look like, and we're going to give that to you inside of this advanced section. From there, I think this is important to you. Some people are saying, well, Ben, how do I know how much to charge a sponsor? How do I know how much to charge a sponsor? Give me a yes if that's you. How do I know how much to charge somebody based on how big the list currently is? Well, what I'm going to give you guys is what we've proven here, which is our local newsletter rate guide. These very specific, hyper niche, hyper local things, you guys are going to get the formula that we use. It's just a formula. You plug in your numbers from how big your list is right now, and you're going to be able to get what you charge people for. And it's how it's fair. Is it something we've done successfully in the past? So listen, does everybody understand what you charge in the first 2 months based on the size of your list is going to be different than the people that come on later when your list is larger? Give me a yes if this makes sense to you. Give me a yes if this makes sense to you. So you guys are going to make more money the bigger these lists get. So you have to have a rate card to understand how you raise your prices as you go. I'm going to hand you that rate card. So at no point along the way are you going to not know what to charge for this. From there, because I think that this is important, anything that's graphic, from the Facebook ad to the newsletters to the web page graphics, all of those things, you guys are going to get the Canva templates if you get into the advanced package. We're going to make sure you get the Canva templates so that all of this is easy, and I'll show you how to use them too. Does all that make sense? Give me a yes if all that makes sense so far. You're excited and you want to get inside. You want to make sure that you lock down a spot for this. I want to see yeses fill up my chat so I know that you're in. This is safe. If all that makes sense and you're ready to get inside, I got a couple of things that I have to say first. A couple of things that I have to say first, and it's this. You guys, this is limited. I think you understand why this is limited. I do not want everybody and their brother getting this. Make me a promise, and I want you to, and don't type it yet, but when I ask you this question, when I ask you to promise me this, if you can do it, type promise in the box. If you can promise me that when you learn how to do this, you will not tell anybody else how to do this that's not a part of our group, put promise in the box right now. That's it. We're going to limit the seats. You will see how limited the seats are here in just a second. But if you promise that you will keep this to yourself, I will let you inside. If you just type promise in the box right now, Ashton is going to put the link in the chat for you right now. Ashton, for those of you that we see that, make sure that we put that in the chat. Ashton's putting the link in. As soon as you guys see that link, go and get your seat now. I'm going to give you a 30-second head start. The seats are limited. This will close down. This will sell out. Make sure when you see the link pop up in your chat, you jump in, you go get it, you lock in your seat now. The second that you are in, I want you to hop back into the chat and I want you to tell me that you're in. If you have any questions, like I said, type QQQ and I will make sure I answer your question as we get to the question section. For those of you that have not seen the link yet, for those of you that are not in yet, make sure you hurry because I'm about to put the link in the chat, which we are going to have a flood of people hitting it. I'm starting to have people jump in the chat and tell me that they are in. I'm going to welcome you guys in just a second. If you've made it in and you have not put I'm in into the chat yet, make sure you come do that too. I want to start seeing all of the folks that are in tell me that they're in. For everybody else, here is your link. I want you guys to go to this link. Get your VIP seat by going to spskr.com/sellthenews. Listen, my chat is starting to fill up fast with people that have made it in. If you've not made it in, maybe you got a question. Before I get to your questions, before I start welcoming everybody in that has made it in, let's recap what you're getting inside. Just real quick, we're going to go through this and then I'm going to answer questions. I'm going to be welcoming everybody that made it in. But here's what you're getting inside. Part one, we're going to be doing the selling the news system from 10,000 feet. I'm going to cover exactly what you guys are getting into, exactly how this comes together. The key to being speedy with this is understanding the system from 10,000 feet. Once we get through this section, I am going to make sure that we jump in and we answer questions. By the way, just a quick question that came through. Somebody says this only works. I'm guessing this is a question. Does this only work if you know the town or the city well? The answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because AI is going to be assisting you with this. So if you are, here's the beautiful part about this, you guys. The beautiful part about this is this. You do not have to live in the city. You can run these things from thousands of miles away. So make sure you understand that. And I'll show you exactly how it works inside. So part one, that's what we've got. We're gonna be looking at from 10,000 feet. From there, we're gonna break it down. Part two, how to lock in your local niche idea and audience. We're going to make sure that we are rocking this out. And we are locking in a local niche audience and an idea that is unique, that is hyper niche, that is not just, hey, it's a city name newsletter with here's some stuff that's happening. It's very specific about city name plus niche. That's the key to growing these things fast and people being passionate about it. From there, part three, how we get people to opt in. I'm going to be giving you the core Facebook ad that we use. It's a template that we use, and you got that, but you're also getting an opt-in page. You'll see where that opt-in page is going to start making sense and how the opt-in page helps this thing go viral as an accessory. From there, part four, how to create your weekly niche news editions easily with the help of AI. So we're going to do that. From there, part five, how to get your local Sell the News sponsors without ever having to speak to anybody. By the way, one of the questions just popped up. I need to cover this. How do we not run all over each other? Here's what's great. Because there's so many cities that qualify for being able to have these inside of them, because there's so many micro niches that you could run in a city, there's plenty of opportunity for the small amount of spots that I'm going to open up. Amy, does that make sense? Give me a yes if that makes sense, Amy. Meaning, we're not just picking towns. We're picking towns and cities, and then we're micro niching down from there. So there's lots and lots of stuff. And there's the reason I ask you guys, do not jump in and do this. I'm going to give you guys a city size that I think is the best. You can do this in any city, by the way. Any city, no matter what size, and you can make money. But I'm going to give you the minimum city size that it's going to take to make good money. The minimum city size that we have for this kit is right around 100,000 people in a city. And when I give you the list of all the cities that you can do this in, you're going to see how there's plenty of opportunity. You've got that number of cities, plus you've got the micro niches that we can go in from there. So hopefully that makes sense. By the way, lots of people have told me they're in. If you're not in yet, please get your spot. I do not want you to be left out in the cold. I got a couple more things to cover, then I'm going to start answering questions and welcoming folks in. So we're going to get that. For the advanced, if you go the advanced route, you're going to get the done for you city themes and chat GPT generation for those, meaning I'm going to give you the exact niches and the exact prompts that you use to get that information for that particular list. Lots of new people since I last said a lot, everybody's in, are getting in. All right, so from there, we're going to go from this. The perfect selling, this is the next piece in the advanced. The perfect selling the news email template. I'm going to give you a template that's not only going to present the information to your subscribers, not only going to be great for your sponsors, but it's also going to help your newsletter grow because it's going to help it go viral. So there's a couple key pieces about this, how this email is set up. We've tested it. You guys are going to get the exact thing. You're also going to get the local newsletter rate guide, meaning as your list grows, your list becomes more valuable. You charge sponsors more. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay. From there, the last thing is all the Canva templates. All the Canva templates, you guys are going to get anything that we use that's graphic. You guys are going to get it so that you can move fast. You don't have to create it yourself. And we're going to get that. All you have to do, by the way, is go to spskr.com/sell the news. Let's go to welcoming folks in, and then I'm going to answer some questions right after that. I want to welcome Rob in. I want to welcome Kathy in. I want to welcome Art in. I want to welcome Robert in, Robert C. We want to welcome Warren W in. We want to welcome Ted G in. I want to welcome Christine K. It's almost exactly saying your name, but it's close. So yeah, it's good to have you in, friend. I'm glad you're in. We've got Roderick B in. We've got Mike F in. We've got Brian C in. We've got Steve M in. We've got Saad B in. We've got Amy D in. We've got Kip A in. We've got Gator G in. We've got Richard W in. We've got Joe. So Joe had an error earlier, but Joe made it in. Good, Joe. Joe M that made it in. We've got, let's see, we've got Eric W that made it in. We've got Paul F that made it in. We've got Bob C that made it in. We've got Lance Z that made it in. And we've got Lauren D that made it in. It looks like I've got some more people that have made it in. If I've not said your name yet, or you've not typed it in the chat, go ahead and get it in. I'm going to get down to that list in the next few minutes. But first, I've got some questions that we want to answer. So I'm going to get to those questions. Then I'm going to welcome some more people in. So if I've not said your name yet, make sure you get your in the box. Just say I'm in, or I made it in. Let me know that you made it in. I will get you, because I got a couple more people that I've got to do that for here in just a minute. Okay, so let's get into it. We got a question from Blaine. Blaine says, Ben, I'm trying to do this exact thing. It seems like it should be tied into a piece of software that we've had in the past. Yes, Blaine, you can absolutely tie this into a piece of software that we released called EventBurner the last little bit. You don't have to have it, but this will work perfectly with EventBurner. And so I can, if you remind me, I will try to cover that outside of the training, but I'll try to cover that of how you can like kind of incorporate those two. So a couple people asked that. And for those of you that don't know what event burner is, I'll show you that at some point. But the key is, let me ask you a question. Do you think that this strengthens event burner? Those of you that have the event burner software, got in on that, were a founder, do you think that this strengthens event burner even more? Yeah. So I'll show you. For those of you that don't know what event burner is, I will do a little special section at the end on event burner for those of you that don't know and kind of show how it works. But let me tell you, you do not have to have event burner to make this work. For those of you that do, I'll show you how it strengthens it, how it comes in. So we'll make sure we put that on the list. Great question from you guys. Let's see what else we got. This comes from Rob. Rob says, is this all running on CE? Hope I don't need something new. You don't. You don't need anything new. You can do this with most autoresponders. For those of you that are customer engine users, perfect fit. That's exactly how I'm going to be showing. The example is inside of customer engine. So, you've got that ready to go. For those of you that want to use something else, though, some other autoresponder, I'll show you how to do that as well. Great question, Rob. Thanks, buddy. Jason says, hey, Rob, by the way, make sure I've got your address somewhere handy. I wanted to send you something just as a friend. Just as saying thanks and being awesome. I've been thinking about you over the last little bit, and I wanted to make sure I sent you something. So I was thinking about that over the holiday. Make sure I get your address, buddy. Jason says, is this strategy effective in areas that already have local newspapers, like a community impact? Seems like the same business model. Oh, so yeah. So Jason, here's the thing. What's nice is, remember, we're micro niching. So even if they've got local sources for these things, those local sources are actually going to help us to compile our information, because it's another online source that the AI can pull from. So do not be afraid of other things in the areas. It actually helps us, because remember, we're being micro niche. We're just going to be specifically about one thing. We're not trying to be everything to everybody. So more sources actually helps us. Let's see. Is there a size the community focus on? We answered that already. What city size works best? Like I said, you can do it for any city, but I try to focus on 100,000 or more. And there's quite a few of those, and I'll show you the map on that, and I'll give you the map of places you can pick. Will we be going? How will we be going? This is from Doug. Doug says, will we be going over how to scale this up by using other people to do this for us? Remind me, Doug, and I can do this. Are you talking about like how to bring in people to do the outsourcing for it, or like what are you specifically covering? Send that to me and I'll make sure we get it covered. Well, any autoresponder work for the newsletter should, yes, any of the majors. Like I said, I'll be showing you guys using customer engine, but any of the majors works. Does the email link to a graphics-rich newsletter webpage? No, all of the information is in the email, so you don't have to do anything in a page. You could, but that would just slow us down. Let's see, I've got some more people that made it in. I'll be welcoming you guys in a second. Do we need both Net Engine and Customer Engine to do this? No, listen, all of this is software agnostic, okay? Like, you don't have to have any particular thing. I'll be showing you like a Net Engine and Customer Engine because that's what I use, but you don't have to have those things to make it work. If you do want those things, obviously I'll get you guys access to them, but you don't have to have them. Will subs be able to opt in for SMS instead of email, or is it email only? Start off doing email for this, and then once you get the once you get the email list built, that's when we bring in some of the SMS stuff, just for this particular style of thing. Good question. Let's see. I got more people telling me they're in. John says, I'm in. Is this something you sold before? You mean the training, John, of how to do this? No, I've never taught how to do this. This is one of the things that I've sort of had on the back burner, that I feel like with where we are in the country, with where we are with as marketers right now, this was the right time to sort of bring it out, because it could help a lot of people. More importantly, it helped my particular crew, which is you guys. So we've got that. What email platform should we use? CE doesn't seem to be the go-to for scaling large lists. For the list this size, you should be good. Scott says, I believe my account is limited to 2,500 email addresses. I don't think it is, but I can check on that, buddy. I can check on that. Let's see. Can you do a co-op of similar businesses you target with just one ad and then charge multiple businesses? Just stick with me for the sponsorship stuff. Don't make it overly complicated, because I don't. And yeah, Rob says, thanks, Ben. Happy New Year. Happy belated birthday. Thanks, buddy. Ashton, can we make sure we've got Rob's address there? Because I do want to send Rob some stuff. Let's see here. Date and time of the training. Ashton is going to put that in the chat, but I believe it's next Tuesday that we're doing that. I also want to welcome Ron B in. I want to welcome, so nice. Ron B in made it in. I love that. I want to welcome Mike M in. Welcome John M in. I got a couple people that I think I've privately thanked you in the chat just because I was going through questions and I didn't want to miss you. And we've got that. Can you be more, so this is from Mike G. Mike says, can you be more specific on selling and closing new business sponsors other than email? I'll say this because I don't want to give away too much except for the people that have gotten a seat because the seats are limited. I want to be as specific as I can without giving too much away on this call. We're going to be sending out an email that explains what we've got and explains how it can benefit them and tells them what to do next and how to sign up. Simple. We lead them to an order page. That's how this comes together. Have you used this to partner with another company? Have a sweepstakes company that's building lists, selling raffle tickets? Could be good for gearheads, possibly. I've not done it like that, but that's interesting. Ken snuck in and Ken T said, I'm in. Nice. I've got a lot of people sneaking in telling me they're in. Want to make sure I welcome you guys. Listen, I have not looked at the official numbers here yet, but I'm guessing we're getting close. So I want to make sure everybody has the ability to get their spot. Make sure you jump in. Make sure you grab a spot before we sell out, because when we sell out, we're closing this. This is going to be something that I'm going to give you guys a head start on this before we open it up to the general public. You guys are my VIP list. Wanted to make sure you guys got access to it first. All you have to do to get your spot, spskr.com/sell-the-news. Get in before we close this down. Make sure you get started right now with this. And I think that you're going to be really, really excited when you understand what we're doing and how this is a little bit of a breath of fresh air for maybe some of the things you've been doing in the past, and how this can get you fired up and make you some money too. All right, Dennis M made it in. Love it, buddy. I'm excited. I love that. Let's see, buddy. Let me see what we got here. He said, yeah, I'll make sure that we dig into this. Do you have a follow-up after the 2 hours, says Lee. Lee, if we get into the 2 hour session and we've got things that we need to cover, we'll follow up. But we're going to go from there. 2 hours should give me the ability to give you everything you need to get started. Typically, when I do follow-up calls, it's because people are having success, but they need to break through something. So you guys just be in touch with me, and I'm always down to do follow-up calls on any of the training that we do because I love talking about this stuff. I love helping you guys bust through. Just make sure you tell me what's going on. Ron, already doing this. Ron says, already doing this, but the time commitment's killing me. Not using AI, so I'm looking forward to it. Man, listen, I just want to say to everybody right now, I've heard people talk about newsletters for a long time. I've heard people talk about local newsletters. I don't hear as many people talk about local micro niche newsletters. All that's good. But until you figure out how to get AI to assist you, this doesn't scale. And it eats your time up like crazy, and it becomes a job. And none of us want a job. You guys, AI right now to me is not the thing that I'm worried is going to eat us all and enslave us. AI is the thing that is the best assistant that anybody could ever have. And what I'm telling you is not only am I using AI, I'm training everybody on my team to use AI because it just makes us all more efficient. I'm not using AI to replace any human. I'm using AI to make all of my humans more efficient. And that's the reason that this is going to be something that is different for you guys. If you've done anything like this or thought about doing this, is AI and the way that we're using the AI to build these things. It really is fascinating. And the thing is when you start using the AI to do this and to build these things, you're going to be blown away by the ideas you get of other things that you can do. But more importantly, how you can scale more of these faster in different locations and turn this into a little mini empire and then turn it into a big empire. And so that's what it's all about. Listen, I kept you guys longer than I meant to, but I love answering your questions. I love talking to you. The thing that I want to throw out there to you guys right now is happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a good one and you're excited. Make sure you get your spot. Go to spskr.com/sell-the-news. Got a couple questions. Do I need any paid AI tools other than Claude or ChatGPT? No, I'm using ChatGPT, the majority of it. Mike says, besides food, what do you recommend in micro niches? I'll get into that in the training. So just make sure you show up and I'll get into that. I love you guys. I'm so glad that we're back. It's a new year. It's going to be an exciting year. And I hope that the Selling the News program is something that you get a spot for, because this is going to be the great kickoff to the year for everybody. And I cannot wait to see what you guys build and over the next couple months with this, if you get a spot. So to get your spot, go to sbskr.com/sell-the-news. Get it before we sell out. And I'll see you on the live call we're going to be doing next week, where we cover all this and give you all the pieces of the puzzle. All right. Happy Friday. Have a great one. Be safe this weekend. And I'll see you next week when we do the live call. Be good. Take care of yourself. Talk soon.